And despite lockdown, people still have health challenges that they're dealing with and health goals that they're running towards. And they have needs that they want to meet. And we have a lot more time on our hands right now. So I think for many people, that will mean more comfort eating and probably less activity, less exercise as well. And so there's a good chance that some people are going to come out of this lockdown period looking a little bit bigger than when they went into lockdown. And so today we're going to be looking at the topic of how you can rock your lockdown with a healthy eating and weight loss program. And I'm just going to ask our guest speaker and our dietitian and nutrition specialist, Liz Geerdts, to unmute herself and to share her screen with us. I'm very excited because Liz has some information which I truly believe is going to be of huge value to you, your family, your customers. And she's going to be talking to us about how you can implement a healthy eating program into your lockdown and how you can incorporate some of these NeoLife products that we have to help you achieve this. So Liz, good morning and welcome to the call. Liz, are you there?
Thanks very much.
Go ahead and unmute yourself. Good morning. Welcome, Liz.
Hi there, Drew. Hi, everybody. And yeah, welcome in this lockdown period. So I'm going to get straight into the products. Yes, we're all in lockdown and probably somewhat out of our routine and our comfort zone and our rhythm. But, that doesn't mean we have to be locked down. I think it's an opportunity, actually, depending on our mindset, to start a whole new routine and rhythm for ourselves and of our own. So I'm going to kind of try and work through the products and give some ideas as to how maybe we can manage that and come up with a very positive outcome from our lockdown procedures. And so there are three things that I think we should focus on today and that I'm going to do to actually help us achieve that. And the first one I think is our metabolism. Drew made reference to the fact that we are certainly not as mobile as we were, and so we can be a little bit sluggish. So we need to keep it revved up. We need to make sure that our insulin levels are where they should be. In other words, we want to make sure that we don't overstimulate them, and they tend to get released in response to the foods that we eat. And depending on what we eat, how much we eat, and the behavior of our bodies, it is likely that we could become a fat storer instead of a fat burner. So we can work on that problem and actually make sure that we come out as the fat burner. And then I think the third thing is to try and keep a positive attitude and to try and keep a positive mindset. So let's get into that. And I think you'll see on the screen, we've got NeoLife tea, and I can't think of anything more effective actually than making NeoLife tea part of that daily routine. Because if we look at the product, it's actually made up of two components: an energizing blend or an energy blend and a herbal blend. And all the bioactives in this product actually talk to each other, work together, and influence us very positively. You'll see that on the energy blend, for example, we have carefully selected leaves from the tea plant. This is a perfectly natural product, and we're using the tea plant that all of us are very familiar with. And we're probably more familiar with the black leaves because that is what we tend to have on our day-to-day basis as a cup of tea. And that's only black because it's been exposed to oxygen, so it's more oxidized than the green leaf, for example, which is less exposed to the oxygen. And then the white tea leaf, which possibly we're not as familiar with, it's more like a little silver leaf, and it's the very brand new leaf or shoot on the plant. And pretty much together, they're very powerful antioxidants, and a little white tea leaf, in fact, has a high level of antioxidant compounds. But what we've done and focused in this product is more specifically on the green tea leaf, because that is the one that actually enhances the energy production, the fat burning, and stimulates the metabolism. And so what we've done in this product is we've concentrated compounds from the green leaf more specifically and standardized it so that you know that in every sachet, every time, you're going to get this amount of green tea components. And in the herbal blend, we have 3 different herbs, which again, we've standardized the amounts of these different herbs, and they are more specifically for our mental well-being, if you like, our mental alertness, our improved performance, the clarity that we have in our minds at any given time. And also they work on alleviating any anxiety, for example. And this is an amazing thing about herbs is they tend to work, the term is adaptogenic. They adapt to how we are actually feeling or what it is that we need. So a very good combination of ingredients. And that is particularly good. The herbal blend is particularly good for our motivation and our attitude. So I think this is a very, very effective way of managing ourselves more positively, staying focused, staying busy, and probably much better adjusted to this lockdown process. Now, we challenge this use of the tea, actually, and have done on many occasions, but this is quite an interesting one, because we took it to some students. Now, I think we know that typically students, they play hard, and when they have to work, they probably stay up half the night trying to get through their studies for their exam tomorrow. So they're pretty well versed in the need for an energy pick-me-up. And many of them obviously resort to all sorts of products, some less desirable than others. But they're in the know when it comes to getting some energy and getting some clarity. So I think we got some amazing results when we gave our NeoLife tea to these set of students to see how our product fared in those departments. And I think you can see the results are absolutely amazing. They speak for themselves. So definitely gives us focus, definitely gives us energy, and keeps our metabolism revved up where it should be. And I think this sort of bodes well for managing our eating patterns and our attitude to managing that process. And again, we also, just to give you some other insights into other users' experience, they got the energy, alertness, and focus that they needed. But what it did also is it put a cap, it sort of blunted the appetite. And for those of you who've used the product, and I'm certainly using it a lot more in this lockdown time, and I'm finding that exactly the same. It kind of just gives you a different experience, and I'm really not as hungry as I thought I was going to be. So it's definitely effective in putting a lid on our appetite, which is what we're all concerned about. So, you must take it as you enjoy it. Maybe you want it hot, maybe you want it cold. It's delicious both ways, in my opinion. And basically dress it up to whatever you want. If you got some cinnamon or some lemon or mint in the fridge, ginger, you can make the mix the way you suit it. Drink it out of a nice China teacup, or you can stick it on your favorite mug, whatever works for you, but make it part of your day. And just to give you a little breakdown of what else is in the product and how little, in fact, in terms of kilojoules, it's providing or contributing to our intake, and yet giving us a huge amount of energy in spite of that. So you enjoy it the way you like it, and of course, very important, no artificial anything in the products. So I encourage you to use it, and perhaps when we have our next coffee and shake get together, maybe you bring your NeoLife tea along with you. I think what happens when we haven't got a lot to do, we tend to go to the kettle and put it on and say, let's have another cup of coffee. So when you found that maybe you've had your 1 or 2 for the day and you're about to go and click the kettle on again, make sure that you make yourself a cup of NeoLife tea before you make the next cup of coffee, because you'll be amazed at how different you actually feel. It's got a different flavor, and it kind of gets you thinking in a different way. So increasing our intake of liquids obviously helps to promote hydration, but it also helps with our energy levels, and it tends to curb our appetite. So a very important addition that we should bring into the home and for us to try. Not something that I would give to the little ones in the family. We generally recommend it for sort of teenagers and above, but even that you would want to use your discretion. I don't think your little ones need any more energy than they've probably already got. So this is really more for the adults in the family. And I think, again, when we're trying to monitor what we're eating and keeping focus on managing our weight and managing our appetite, I wouldn't suggest that we do what we call grazing. In other words, eating little bits all through the day. I think to get back into that, into a new rhythm, into a groove, it would be a good idea to try and plan to perhaps have your meals, 3 meals a day, rather than a little bit here and a little bit there, because that's going to actually influence your insulin levels negatively. You're constantly going to be prompting insulin to be released, and insulin then is going to do its work, and you're going to become more of a fat storer than a fat burner, and that's not exactly what we don't want during this time in particular. So this is really just a fun thing to show you what your total plate of food should look like for the day, and you can see that 50% of it should, if possible, go towards the vegetables, salad, and the fruit component, if you're able to go out into the shops and get some. And really the portion sizes are there just to give you some sort of measure of how one relates to the other. Just an interesting thing there in terms of the double hand with the vegetables and salad, and maybe a single fist full of fruit, because depending on the fruit that you choose. Fruit has got a higher carbohydrate or sugar content per portion than an equal portion of fruit or vegetables and salad. So you would want to have that 50% more focused towards vegetables and salad, and obviously complemented with a few fruits for the day. I know the meat looks a little bit mean there on your palm, but of course it's depending on the size of your palm. So if the guys are looking at this and thinking, well, that's really isn't enough meat for me, remember you've got a bigger hand, fatter hand, so you're going to get a bigger and fatter piece of steak or meat for your portion. So that is really just an indicator of how we could be eating, and rather having set meals than having sort of a grazing process right through the day, because that really doesn't give you a high degree of control. Now, if you're looking at these portion sizes and wondering how you're going to manage, then I can tell you that fiber is going to be your friend. Because fiber in foods in general, when it's in conjunction with a liquid, will actually swell in the stomach and swell in the system, and it will actually fill you up and keep you fuller for longer. So fiber tablets are a very useful little addition to the daily intake, and I would suggest that you plan to take 2 tablets half an hour before each meal that you're going to have, with a full glass of water. Now that water is not only going to fill you up itself, it's also going to stimulate that fiber when they come in contact with one another to actually swell in a natural way, because that's what fiber does, and your stomach will be slightly fuller than it otherwise was. So you get this pleasant feeling of fullness, but also, interestingly, you get signals given to the brain, which is actually telling the body, you know what, I've actually got enough food in my stomach, or a lot more than I thought, so I'm actually not as hungry as I thought I was going to be. So you will get a reduced desire for large portions of food. That's simply how your body will work naturally when it has adequate amounts of fiber. So these little fiber tablets can help you sort of fast track that process and keep your portion sizes controlled when you're eating your different meals of the day. Because it's whole food based, as all our products are, then it's, we've got a balanced variety of soluble and insoluble fibers, which is what we want from the foods that we eat. And again, nothing artificial, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And this is a theme that you'll see through all our food-based products. And it's very unique if you consider that you're bringing things into the home, particularly under these circumstances, and we've had to bring in tinned things or frozen things. And we've brought in things that will inevitably have, flavorants or artificial substances, or particularly preservatives. And yet these products you can simply put in your cupboard and leave them there. They have a long shelf life, and they don't have anything undesirable in them. So quite a unique addition at this time. And then NeoLife Shake, which I think many of you are familiar with. And I think this is really a lifesaver. It's delicious, it's easy to whip up. You're whipping up a meal in virtually no time at all, and with a huge amount of nourishment and a huge amount of nutrient value that I think it's fair to say that most of us would not even be able to manage under normal circumstances when we're putting a general plate of food together. It's not common that we can manage to get all 22 amino acids that we need in human nutrition. It's the essential as well as the non-essential amino acids. And that gives us a high quality protein, or what we call high biological value protein, if we've got all those amino acids on our plate. And usually that comes from animal-based products when we're putting food together, and generally contributes cholesterol to the diet. And in this case, we're getting that high biological value protein and very little fat and no cholesterol. So very unique in that respect. And of course, added to that is a significant amount of fiber. So there again, we're actually contributing to regulating our appetite. And very low in kilojoules and 25 different vitamins and minerals. So this is really a very, very nourishing meal. These 2 scoops of NeoLife Shake that you're going to simply mix up with some water and get a very nutritious meal. But very important also too, because I talked about those insulin levels, is that we have what we call smart carbohydrates, if you like. They're the ones that don't spike your blood sugar. And we've gone to great lengths to make sure that the nutrient and the combination in this product actually does exactly what it promises. And we've tested it, proven it, and published it, that we actually regulate the sugar response that we get when we actually use this as a meal. So we are not inducing an insulin response and not making ourselves fat storers, but rather fat burners. So we're not demanding excess amounts of insulin. Now, it's important to know, obviously, what's in the product, but it's equally important to know what's not in the product. And I think you'll see a whole long list of feel-good facts. and basically nothing artificial in this product. And so this is quite amazing that you've got a fabulously nourishing meal and everything you would want in a meal rather than undesirable artificial substances. So definitely a plus when it comes to our lockdown menu. Now, of course, you might want to ramp it up a little bit and, you know, just add some variety and perhaps a little bit of a treat when we're introducing NeoLife Shake into the diet. Maybe even a little bit of glamour. So if you go down into your shop NeoLife and you go to the resources library and you scroll down to brochures, you'll actually find this little recipe book. We haven't published it. We've simply put it in a digital form. And it's giving you, just as starters, some really fun recipes. You know, there's one called banana bread, and there's another one, I think, called grandma's apple pie, and another one is a berry blast. So they're really good fun. And in fact, these could be really your immune boosting, super delicious lockdown smoothies, just to, you know, add a little bit of glamour to your menu. And of course, you know what, maybe now that you're getting into a groove and starting to think about it, perhaps you can focus on a totally new routine, and maybe you might even end up losing some kilos rather than adding some kilos. And we'll be able to help you manage to do this if you actually again go to your resources library and scroll right to the bottom to the business and product guides, and you'll find there a very, very useful, very informative and handy NeoLife weight management program guide. It's everything you really need to start understanding how to shed some kilos, keep them off, and certainly not pack them on. It really is handy. It actually holds your hand right through the process, gives you some really good hints and tips, gives you some ideas for snacks, gives you a tracking form where you can actually get yourself an idea of what you are eating, that you're taking your supplements, and really keeping you on track. And basically, in terms of the NeoLife Shake, what the recommendation here is let's make 2 meals of that day a NeoLife Shake. And that's a way to kickstart your weight loss program. And so you'll see that in between, we've played with our NeoLife tea, because remember, that's going to curb your appetite, it's going to stimulate your metabolism. And I think, although I said don't graze through the day, when you're actually on a particularly kilojoule controlled program like this will be, you possibly need something just in between the 2 meals to make sure that your sugar levels just stay buoyant, but not excessive. And so you can make choices with the help of your little guide with some different little snacks that are healthy. And we've even got other things that I'm going to chat about that you could probably slot in here as a healthy snack. So your tea comes into play, your shake comes into play, your well-balanced plate of food at the end of the day. And you can mix it around. I mean, you could have your plate of food or your main meal at lunchtime. It really depends how you want to do it. But the idea here is to have 2 shakes for the day. You'll notice that there's a little sachet with the breakfast pack there. And that's one of our core products. That's Pro Vitality, which many of you will be familiar with. But very important here, because it's just making sure that we cover all the bases. And very importantly, you'll find in this little pack, we've got 2 products that contribute very important oils or fats to our diet that we cannot manufacture in the body. They have to be received or gotten from our food, which we may not be getting in this particular phase of lockdown. So some of them come from whole grains, the oils that are generally processed out of there when the product is called Treonine. And then, of course, the omega-3 fats that we get typically from fish. We need to have that in our diet on a regular basis. So it's very handy to have them on hand on a daily basis with NeoLife's Pro Vitality. But what I'm trying to point out to you here is that these oils tend to gravitate to our cell membranes and keep them fluid and receptive and responsive to anything that needs to come into the cell. And one of those things that need to come and make contact with the cell and influence it is, in fact, insulin. So we want to make sure that the 2 work together very well. If we've got a very good cell membrane that's responsive, our insulin will work properly and not excessively. And so we'll have a much more balanced system. So important that we have Pro Vitality in the mix on a daily basis too. So that's how we could actually end up losing some weight instead of gaining some weight. And then we've got another product that is also high quality protein, a NutriShake, which we tend to find that the kids enjoy, and I'm sure you'll find that your kids do too. It's delicious. It's usually mixed with milk, which makes it a really fun milkshake actually. And you'll see that they've got 3 different flavors. Kids really seem to love this, and they don't realize that they're getting well nourished at the same time. So it's got the high quality protein, all the 22 amino acids. It's got those smart carbohydrates, so it's not spiking any sugars and basically keeping your kids off the roller coaster of ups and downs. And I think that's something to be grateful for at this stage of the game. So it tends to settle their appetite, balance their mood and attitude. So yeah, they'll have some fun, they'll enjoy it, and it's actually very good for them, and it will keep them on an even keel. So I've mentioned protein and I've mentioned fiber together, and when we were talking about, for example, NeoLife Shake as well. And just trying to emphasize that the right amount of protein and fiber has been shown to curb appetite and to keep us fuller for longer. So that's a very good combination. And it really matters during this time when it's so easy just to sort of run off to the fridge and off to the pantry or the grocery cupboard and pick up something just because we feel like it. So this really does give us a cap on our appetite and our desire to eat foods and our desire to crave things. When we've got an even balance of sugars in our body, we're less likely to crave foods. But another great addition to the NeoLife foods is the NeoLife bar. I mean, this is something that will definitely help us feel fuller because it is a combination also of fiber and protein. And it's got some delicious chunks of cashews and almonds. It's got a whole mix of seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and they all provide additional protein and fiber as well as delicious flavor. We've even added some flaxseed, so we actually get some omega-3 fatty acids from this product too. And look at that delicious fusion of blueberries and cranberries, and they bring excellent antioxidant protection for our cells that I was talking about. So this is really a winner and so very convenient. And again, that same thread that we have of managing our insulin levels, where we've based our product again on the science of the glycemic response control technology, which means that we regulate our sugar response, regulate our insulin response, and help us minimize fat storage, but promote fat burning. So this really fits in perfectly into what we need at this particular time. It also fits in very well with that NeoLife weight management program that I was showing you, where you could slot this in, for example, as either your mid-morning snack or your afternoon snack. So very handy, very easy to have, and you'll notice that, in fact, again, all those good food, whole food-based components, excellent amount of fiber, the omega-3s are there, and again, nothing artificial in there either. So we've got all this handy food that has a long shelf life, and yet it's got none of the undesirable ingredients you're going to find, and all the other sort of things that you've probably had to bring into your home at this time. But of course, we want to share it around with the family, and not all kids are, a lot of them sort of turn their noses up to something that they think might be healthy or good for them. So we've got to get it into their diet in another way. So I think it's quite fun to actually break up the bar a little and break it onto perhaps a porridge or a cereal. And it gives it a bit of texture, but sort of a little cluster of nice little chewy things that they can have on their porridge or their cereal that they actually tend to enjoy. And what I quite like to do also is I do exactly the same thing, maybe over some fresh fruit and a yogurt, or perhaps a fruit salad that you might have. And again, it just adds that sort of crunchy element to the dish. And that could even be a light meal, a light lunch, for example. So we can manage to actually really spread these products right through our day and right through our plan for this lockdown period and beyond. And I think what's amazing, if we just look at the fact that these few products will actually combine together as part of a daily eating plan. And given their individual features, which I hope I've highlighted for you, they will help regulate our appetite, they will stimulate our metabolism, they will minimize fat storage, but promote fat burning rather. And the amazing thing is that people could actually lose weight during this lockdown period. And so this unique set of circumstances that we all found ourselves in might be just the opportunity that you need to get yourself into a new place, and when lockdown is over, to get a head start on your life again. So I hope you enjoy using the products, and we can chat about it again, but all the best for you in your lockdown. I think you've got all the tools that you possibly need to make it a good one. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz. I really appreciate that. It's such an interesting period, this lockdown situation. And I think for most people, it's a completely new, it's foreign to us. And we really have two choices we can make. We can choose to to treat lockdown as a holiday and lose all sense of rhythm and momentum that we might have created over the last couple of months, or we can choose to maintain some sort of momentum or some sort of routine in our lives, and we can choose to remain productive so that when we come out of this lockdown and the situation that we're in, we are in a position to capitalize on the opportunity in front of us. I also think lockdown is a great chance for us to start something new, whether that is a healthy eating or healthy weight loss program, or maybe it's a home workout routine. It's also a great opportunity for us to learn more about our product and more about our opportunity in this downtime, so that we are better prepared to share our product and opportunity with others. So we are better prepared to make a bigger impact in our communities and on the world. And our number one daily success habit, we always talk about that, is to use the products. As NeoLife distributors, we are expecting you and ourselves to be using the products, because only when we use the products can we experience the true benefits of the product. And I so appreciate that Liz has spoken about a few products today that we so often don't even talk about. And I was just listening to what you're saying about the NeoLife tea. Now, I'm actually drinking a NeoLife tea right now. This is one of my favorite products, and it's grown on me. If I need clarity of thought, if I need focus for a big event, I drink NeoLife tea. If I need energy to get me through a busy afternoon or for a pre-workout, I go straight to the NeoLife tea. And I've only felt these benefits because I've used the product. So I just want to encourage you guys to, if you haven't used the tea or the NeoLife bars or tried the NeoLife shake or the weight management program, give it a go, try it, use it, so that you can feel the true benefits for yourself. Because our second daily success habit is to go out and share these products and opportunity. And we are really better positioned to share these products when we have our own personal experience on the products. So Liz, thank you so much for that information. So appreciate what you do for us.